welcome to another episode of Warhammer 40,000. It's Challenger Scorpion, it's 2,000 points, an 8th edition, and back by popular demand, Mitch Farrington has returned with his Death Korps of Krieg, but they'll be fighting a different army this time. The might of the Tyranids is here, so it's Death Korps of Krieg versus Tyranids fighting across this snowy landscape. And it'll be here, the Imperial will do battle with the Tyranid Horde. Right, welcome to another episode of Warhammer 40,000. It's 2,000 points, Challenger Scorpion, and it is Death Korps of Krieg versus Tyranids. So, new codex here for the Tyranids, so an experimental list with them. So, it's 2 detachments, it's battle forged, and then a battalion detachment, and then a spearhead detachment as well. So, 3 troops here, 3 units of 16 gene stealers, 4 of them in each have acid maws, and then for HQs there is the Broodlord, just there with his monstrous rending claws. Another troops here, it's a unit of warriors, all armed with rending claws, and then death spitters for 2 of them, and then venom cannon as well for the other. Then the third HQ is the Hive Tyrant here, with monstrous lash whip and bone sword, and then he also has a stranglethorn cannon, and insidious threat for him for the warlord trait, and then Yumgal factor as well for the relic, all equipped and given to him. Then heavy supports here, 3 slots have been taken, so a brood here of Carnifexes. The first ones here are Screamer Killers, armed with Sporocysts and monstrous scything talons for them. Then the second brood is more equipped for shooting here, monstrous scything talons for them, heavy venom cannons for those as well. Then enhanced sensors as well, actually upgrade for them just to give them +1 to hit. Then the third slot for a heavy support is the Exocrine just there. Then for elites, 3 venom ropes, and that makes up almost 2,000 points exactly. So that's the list there for the Tyranids. Tough challenge for them though against the Death Korps of Krieg, and the list has changed. Mitch has been working on some new units. We'll see a new list here to take on the Tyranids. Right, so Mitch Farrington has returned at 2,000 points here of Death Korps of Krieg. The list has changed, but there's still plenty of infantry here. It took a good 2 hours to lay these out, but we'll let Mitch go through his list here. We'll see what he's got.
So this is my 2,000 point Imperial Guard army of 3 detachments, a brigade, a battalion and a spearhead for 16 command points, although I've spent 1 to get an extra relic. My warlord is one of my 5 company commanders. His warlord trait is Grand Strategist. There's another company commander who has the relic Kurov's Aquila, and there is a third one who has the relic of Lost Cadia. Then there are 2 more normal ones. They're all on horseback, but really they're just normal company commanders. I just think it looks cool. Mm-hmm. There's also Commissar Yarrick. He has nothing at all, he's just basic Commissar Yarrick. For elites, you've got 3 astropaths. They all have Psychic Maelstrom, psychic power. Then for troops, there are 12 infantry squads. They all have Voxcasters, and one of them, to make up the points, has an autocannon team. For fast attack, there are 3 scout sentinels armed with las cannons. For heavy support, there is a Manticore. It does have 4 rockets, one's just missing. There are 2 Limeros Annihilators, both have las cannons in the hull and twin las cannon in the turret. There's a Limeros battle tank, just bog standard, 1 las cannon in the hull. There are 3 lots of 3 las cannon teams and the 2 saber searchlights, which give me +1 ballistic skill. I think that's my whole army.
Okay, so that's the list there. 2,000 points, even with the addition of the tanks, is still a vast amount here. I think the Tyranids, they must be outnumbered. Almost 2 to 1 here by Guardsmen. Unbelievable. But that's the list there. Very impressive indeed, and very much looking forward to fighting in this game. So we'll go on to scenario and deployment next. So the scenario is securing control. There's an objective each here, and it's Vanguard Strike for deployment. So Mitch has chosen the deployment zone here. So central line of dice run diagonally here. Tyranids will be at this end, This is the view that they'll have across the board, and their objective marker is just here. And then for the Death Korps, their deployment zone will be here, marked by the line of dice, and Mitch has placed his objective just on top of this building here. So there's also points available for First Blood, Slay the Warlord, and Line Breaker as well. We'll start alternating placing units now on the board. And just to mention the battle mat that we're using in this game, it's by gamemat.eu. They produce these battle mats here for games of Warhammer 40,000. So 6x4 is the size. It's made from this nice mouse mat material here. And then another material on top with the design printed on there. Nice and soft, figure friendly for models to fall over. Nice and quiet for dice rolling as well. And it just rolls out flat every time. And then you just place your terrain on top. And then we've added some snow onto the terrain as well. But there it is, you can check them out. It's gamemat.eu. They produce these battle mats, and then also terrain sets and accessories as well. Right, so deployment done for the Tyranids here. Genius is deploying to the right hand side, 1, 2, 3 units there, and then the Broodlord just here. The Carnifexes, the Screamer Killers, deploying just up to the line as well. And then the Shooting Blob has deployed on the left hand side, the Hive Tyrant in the middle, Venom Thropes at the back, Exocrine at the back as well, Warriors on the right hand side, and the 3 shooting Carnifexes there with the heavy venom cannons at the front. So that's their deployment done. Setting up on a wide front here, sort of splitting into 2 armies. Right, so deployment for the Death Korps of Krieg. A scout move has been done by these Sentinels here. They've shifted to their right after deploying just to there. Mitch trying to keep them away from his infantry just in case any of these explode. Then an infantry unit here right at the front. Infantry unit here. Laser cannon team just there at the back. And then 2 company commanders here on horseback. The infantry squad with the autocannon on top there, on top of the objective. And then the tanks are parked up here, getting ready to move out, just hiding from some of the Tyranid shooting units. And then laser cannon teams, nice commanding view of the battlefield. They looking out across the table there. Infantry squads down here. 2 commanders here at the back. Infantry squad down below as well. And then on top here, 1, 2, 3, 4 squads of infantry. Commander on horseback, don't know how he got up there, but he's on top as well. Psychers and Yarick, and a searchlight just here. The other searchlight is on top next to the objective there as well. So that's the deployment for the Death Korps of Krieg complete. So all the units are on the board here for the Death Korps of Krieg. Guns at the ready. Bayonets fixed. Maybe not yet. Wait till the Tyranids get a bit closer, but they're ready to go here. Deployment is done. So moving for the Tyranids here, they've made their move. Gene Stealers rolling a 6, 6 and a 5 here for their advanced moves, moving very, very quickly across the board. Carnifexes have advanced as well. Broodlords rolled a 6 as well for his advance. And then Carnifex is moving up. A good rolls for them with their advanced moves done as well. They've got assault weapons, they'll still be able to shoot, but it'll be -1 to hit. Then across here, the Exocrines remains stationary. It does have a view across to 2 of the Sentinels just there, so if it remains to it, we'll get to fire twice. Then the Venom Thrope shifting across just to grant the -1 to hit to all of the units here that have moved. Warriors have moved up, and then the Carnifexes with the heavy Venom cannons have moved up there, and the Hive Tyrant just behind them. So that's movement complete. Tyranids closing the gap quite quickly here as they advance towards the Death Korps of Krieg. So the Hive Fleet here, just to mention, is Jammunger. It's hard to pronounce, which just means the units are always in cover, or count as being in cover unless they advance or charge. And then, Mitch, your doctrine is Cadian doctrine to be used here in this game. But that is the movement done. Tyranids have surged ahead here. We'll press on to their Psychic phase next. Okay, so Psychic phase finished. The Hive Tyrant cast Catalyst here, protecting the Exocrines. Any wounds that come through 5+, they'll be ignored. And then over here, the Broodlord with Smite, that went off. Mitch tried to block it and failed there just about. And then 3 of the Guardsmen from the closest squad have been slain. So that is Psychic phase finished. We'll go on to Shooting phase next for the Tyranids on their first turn. So we'll start the shooting phase here for the Tyranids, trying to make an impact here early on in the game and take advantage here of going first. So the Exocrine is going to fire. It is in range 36. Of 2 of these, we've remained stationary, so we'll get to fire twice. And then we've played Pathogenic Slimes. So that's +1 on the damage here for this monster for the whole phase. So we'll make a start here, 6 shots, and we'll fire at this one just here. It's freeze to hit. We do get 4 hits come through. Toughness 5. These are shots coming in at strength 7. So they all wound except 1. And they're coming in at AP -3. So there's -3 on the save here coming through, but there is obscurity for the Sentinel. So 6s we reckon for saves. None. Okay, and then with that card, well, that stratagem being used, that's 9 points of damage on him. So he's gone. Just roll up to see if he explodes, and he doesn't. So target destroyed here and first blood picked up. We'll fire another round here from the Exocrine. This time at this one just here. So we'll be on 3s for hits. Not so good this time. We'll use a stratagem to try and get another hit through. We don't, so we've used one up. Mitch can roll here. He's rolled a 6. He's taking extra command points here. Whenever I use a stratagem, he rolls a dice on a 5+, he gains a command point to himself. What's the name of that? That's the...
Kurov's Aquila.
Okay, so that's the ability being used there. So we've just got the 3 hits come through. Freeze to wound. They all wound. And it's -3. So I think that Sentinel's gone as well. He does detonate. We'll check the radius for this, whether it'll impact the other Sentinel. There's no cover save here at all. He's in the open there. The building wasn't covering him for the firepower coming through, so the Sentinel didn't get a save at AP -3. So just about 3 inches here, so the explosion's not going to make any impact on the other Sentinel. That's another one of those brought down. So pretty good shooting there for the Exocrine, dealing out a fair amount of wounds with that firepower. So we're going to fire this Central Carnifex next. We're going for the laser cannon team just at the back there on top of the building. Just going to try and pick on these heavier weapons. So D3 shots, it's 2. They're on freeze to hit here with advanced or enhanced senses, just the 1, there's no rerolls available. And then 2s for a wound, no. 0 impact from the first Carnifex, so that's 1 down, 2 left to go. Alright, so the second one will fire, same target. D3 shots, 3 shots coming through, better this time. 3s to hit. 2 misses. 2s for a wound, surely, yes, and it's AP -2, so it's damage 3, ignoring cover, AP -2. So if Mitch, is there anything you can do to try and... Okay, Mitch has just rolled there for a save, needing a 6, but one of the laser cannons has gone, so 1 down. We'll fire next at the lead squad here. We'll fire with this one. So D3 shots, it's 3 shots this time. 3s for hits, so do get 2. 2s for wounds. Yes, 2 wounds do come through. you may want to use a stratagem here to try and enhance.
Take cover stratagem.
Take cover, okay. So that is 5s now to save. And he...
2 and
cocked dice, yeah. No, so 2 casualties come through. Okay, so 2 bases removed from that squad as well. So now there's one squad left with 1 base and 1 squad left with 2. So we've killed half of the las cannons there on top of the building. Can't really see the tanks, they're hidden away at the moment. So Tyranids trying to pick on the infantry at this stage. We'll press on the rest of the shooting here for the Tyranids on turn 1. It's going quite well for them at the moment. Okay, Hive Tyrant, he is in range with his Stranglethorn cannon. He is going to go after the front las cannon team, see if he can pick up small damage against them. It is D6 shots, 3 shots, needing 3s to hit. They all hit, strength 7s, they'll be on 2s to wound. 2 of them wound. These are at -1 and ignores cover as well. So 6s for saves. It does save 1, but another base has gone. They're 2 damage. Mitch is just going to reroll here. It needs a 6. It's using the command trait there. No, okay, just the off chance there again, that 6 to preserve that model. But it's 2 damage, yeah. So he's another one gone there. So just 1 left from each of those heavy weapons teams. Lascan has been knocked down there. There's a fair amount of them in the army here, so Tyranids do need to prioritise those, and they've picked a number of them off. So we do have a venom cannon here with the warriors. That's D3 shots. Just the 1 shot. And it's a 4 to hit with this one, and he has missed, so 0 impact from the warriors there as they move up. So there's just the Carnifexes left to shoot next, and fire those there. Right, so shooting phase finished. We fired these, needing 5s to hit with their Screamer killer attacks there. Range 18, strength 7, AP -4. And we did bring down a number of guardsmen here, 4 from this squad, and another 1 from that squad just there. Morale's been done, they've all held no problem. Commissar Yarrick granting leadership 9 to those units, and Mitch has passed those rolls for morale. So that makes the end. We finished the turn off here. There's no assaults available for the Tyranids. Too far away from the Death Korps of Krieg at this stage, but they've advanced out here, covering the ground quite well, and then have made an impact here, reducing down 2 of the Sentinels. They're gone. Las Cannon team's taking some damage for these as well. We've just done morale for these as well. They've passed, no problems. They will remain and fight on. But that is the end of the turn here. I don't think Mitch is too worried. He's still got his tanks at full strength and ready to move out and to respond here to this Tyranid advance. The Guard certainly do have firepower of their own to use. That marks the end of the turn here for the Tyranids. They've made their advance. They've had their chance to make an impact here. Now it's the turn for the Death Korps of Krieg to respond to the Tyranids. We'll go on to their first turn next. Okay, so the Guard making their initial moves here. It looks like units are being sent out here. I think Mitch wants to gain the rapid fire ability here to get close enough within 12 to be able to get the maximum amount of shots he can. Just calculating out, reckons it's better to get close and then let off a more effective volley and then stand with Overwatch as well to try and bring down as many of the Genius Stealers and Tyranid models as he can. So I'm not sure if he's going to send all the units forward for one initial impact or just stagger out there. Decisions to be made with how best to go about this, but there's plenty of infantry squads to call upon, that's for sure. But new codex here for both sides, so that evens things out, we reckon, to some degree. Guard are certainly a tough foe to take on here at the moment. Tyranid is still at experimental stage. They've done all right in their previous, well, they did very well in their previous game, and then they're seeking to make an impact here in this game as well. But it's going to be a tough task for them for sure. But we'll certainly get an idea by the end of the shooting phase here if the Tyranids stand any chance against this Guard firepower. Okay, so movement complete here for the Death Korps. A lot of the infantry units advancing here, 2 ranks deep, getting into las gun range, either range 24, and some of them over here into range 12 as well, just to use the maximum firepower they can. Squad here has moved to the edge. Yarrick's edged forwards as well. Then the Psychers here, the Astropaths, moving across, staying 18 inches away from the Broodlord, so they're not affected by the power of the Hive Mind rule against Psychers. Squad just here by the searchlight, commanders here at the back, and then a number of squads down here as well. Remaining stationary of the las cannon teams, this squad on top, this heavy weapons team, and then the tanks have moved out here and lining up so they can all see targets ahead in this direction. So it's remaining stationary of him just to grant you 4+ to hit. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so that is movement done. There is a psychic phase here for the Death Korps. The astropaths prepare to use their psychic abilities here against the advancing Tyranids. Okay, so we're on psychic phase here. This is worth watching, this one here. Psychic Maelstrom, so he's got to try and make it go off first of all on a 7, which it does. So it chooses the first. These are independent psychers, aren't they?
Yeah.
Wow, so the first one here, 2+. So that's a mortal wound. Cock dice here.
3+ goes
4, yeah, so it's 2 mortal wounds, 3 mortal wounds, 4 mortal wounds. 4 mortal wounds dealt out, and that's just the first astropath there. Horrendous. Yeah. So 4 mortal wounds here. It's going to fire the second astropath at the same target. So 2+. Oh, sorry, you've got to make it go off.
Smite.
Oh, smite, right, okay.
Nope. It's only 1 dice for an astropath.
So you can't cast the same power apart from smite repeatedly throughout the turn. So that psychic maelstrom's been used up. Smite's failed once, but it has gone off this time, and it's D3 mortal wounds. 2, another 2 come through, so 6 wounds in total there. So that's 2 mortal wounds come through. Mitch is just going to command roll the one that failed, needing a 5+, and that has not gone off. Okay.
No.
Okay, so that command point's been used up and hasn't come back on a 5+. But psychic phase has been resolved now. The total is 6 wounds dealt out there against this Carnifex, so excellent impact there. That marks the end of the psychic phase. Very, very effective indeed. Those psychers are something to be feared for sure. So we will now go on to the shooting phase for the Death Korps of Krieg on their first turn. Right, so in the middle of shooting phase here, infantry units have fired. So this one here and the one behind fired here at the Carnifex and have made 0 impact so far. They've been counting as in cover here because they didn't advance, so they've been on 2s for our armour save, and then at -1 to hit as well, being granted by the Venom Ropes just here. It's a bit of a relationship going on here between these beasts, and granting some benefits to each other just there. So no casualties so far. So Mitch has now switched over to heavier firepower. So the Lehman Russ in the gap just over here is going to fire across which one of those? The middle one in the middle. All right, so the Spore Cysts here, it's -1 to hit. So 5s.
3 hits.
So excellent shooting. And it will be freeze to wound. And 2 wounds do come through. So we're on 6s to save here. There's a 6. Did need one of those. Is a straight D6 damage coming through. It's a 2. He tempting to re-roll, but if that's used, then there's no more.
8 wounds, right?
Yes, 8 wounds, yeah. He's going to re-roll command point being used. 5 wounds come through, and a 5+, he'll get the command point back. Yes, excellent. Efficient use of stratagems there. So we'll put 5 wounds on this central Screamer Killer. So 3 wounds left here on this Screamer Killer. It's not dead yet, but significantly damaged there with a decent las cannon wound coming through. So the 2 lone las cannons in the top corner there, one's going to go against each. So this one here rolls a 1, that's a miss, and then this one here in the middle. See if
Rerolling 1s though, because my commander's nearby.
Ah, so you can re-roll the 1. So that is a 3 there. So that's a miss coming through, and then the other las cannon is going to go after the one with the 3 or the 2. The middle one. Okay, so 5+ to hit that one.
Nope.
No. Okay, so that's missed as well. Shots coming through.
Not good.
Not finding their targets at the moment, but still plenty of firepower to go. Okay, so the autocannon here is going to fire across, try and pick off this Carnifex just hidden in 5s. 1 hit does come through, and then freeze to wound. It does wound. 4+ to save here. And we do, it is a 5, so blocks that from coming through. That was 2 damage, yeah, that would have finished him off. But he remains alive, the Carnifex is still alive here on 2 wounds left. So infantry unit here is fired through, causing 1 wound in total here against the end Carnifex here. We did fail the save, but then we rolled a reroll there and passed on a 3+. So just trying to prevent that from coming through. Mitch waiting to play a stratagem that grants +1 to hit with other weaponry there, so just trying to stop a wound from coming through against this target here. So 0 wounds coming through. The next shot is the lone sentinel here, and he's going to pick on this one here. Okay, so it's -1 to hit Does get his hit though, 5+, 3+ for a wound, and he does wound. Okay, so 6+ to block this, otherwise this Carnifex will be in trouble. Almost, and it's 2 that's been rolled, 2 required. Carnifex has been brought down. So next one, las cannon teams here, the 3 of them, they've lit up with a searchlight, this one here, so 4s to hit. So change of target is going to go after this one here, so that's, they can see no problem at all, so 4s, 2 hits, that is good. 3s to wound, and that is 2 saves required. We are on a 5+, it's -3, but we're on +1 to our armor save because we count as in cover, so 5s and 6s to block here. Rolled another 6 there, and then it's d6 damage, just the 1, no reroll available. It's just a wound coming through here against this Carnifex. So this rush is going to fire out. Battle Cannon is going to go after this one, and then the lone las cannon against him. So Battle Cannon's
7
shots coming through.
10,
so 7 shots here, needing
5s, but then I get rerolls of 1 because of my relic.
Okay, yeah. It's not bad then. Okay, so 3 hits do come through. And then 3s to wound. They all wound. That's good dice rolling. Okay. So 4+ here with the benefit of cover for saves against the battle cannon. We save 1, so the damage can come through. It's d3 a time. 2 6s there. Unbelievable. That's 6 wounds caused there. 1 wound remains. Las cannon now against this one here. So 5 or 6 rerolling 1s for Kadia. No, 2 is a miss. It's the relic. Okay, now reroll 1s because of the relic here, granting that bonus. So he's fired. There's still this one left, and the Manticore as well. So we've resolved more shooting here. So the squads here have fired through. The squad up on top, squad here, squad here. The squads that fired down here have reduced the Gene Stealers down just to 4 of them left. Manticore fired across here as well. And then this squad, tons of shots within range 12. And then with some searchlight help as well, lit up the Gene Stealers inside here. 13 saves to make. We did have cover to help us out, 4+. And then that's the result down there, passing loads of those saves. Just 4 of the Gene Stealers from this squad brought down. So a good number of them killed, but still a fair amount of them left alive. And then the rest of the line remains pretty much intact here. There's just 1 unit left to fire. It's the Leam Russ here with the las cannons. So the whole las cannon, 1 shot here, and the turret's going to get to fire. He's just going to roll that now. It does get his hit. 3+. Does get the wound. Roll up here to save on a 5+, otherwise this Carnifex is dead. We do roll a 5, so it does live. Then the turret here, firing twice. 2 shots do hit the target. I think he's aiming here. And 1 wound does come through. So just the 1 wound coming through. 5+ to try and block this one. Nope. And no reroll available. And it's a 2 with the damage. There is a squad here at the back there that is available to shoot. And they're going to go after this Carnifex here on the end. So full squad. So a lot of shots available here. So it will be -1 to hit. So 5s to hit here. Rerolling 1s. Okay, so 2 hits there. And then the hits coming through. 6s to wound here against the Carnifex. And 0. Okay. This happened a number... Oh, rerolling 1s to wound, yeah.
No.
Nothing. Okay. That's happened a number of times here. Carnifex is just that toughness 6, and the las gun's really struggling against them at strength 3. Is there any other shooting left?
1 squad there.
At all, this squad. Okay, we'll check ranges of this end squad here. So going to target this one to try and reduce the last wound down on that Carnifex. Yeah, it's rerolling 1s for these. They are in range here of the relic that grants them that. So it is -1 to hit this one as well. So it is 5s, rerolling 1s. Another 1 hit comes through. 6s to wound. A wound does come through. No reroll 1s for this one.
Oh yeah, there is.
There is, okay. And it does generate another wound. We do receive the benefit of cover, so 2+ to save. And yes, on 2 2s, would you believe?
There's 3 wounds.
There's another wound as well, so I'm just going to roll this one again. It is a 6, so we hold it there. The 2+ for the armor save really helping out that benefit being granted by the Hive Fleet ability there. So that marks the end of the shooting phase here. There may be assaults. Mitch contemplating fixing bayonets and charging here. We'll see what he decides to do. Yeah, so charges have gone ahead, but no contact made. Rolling a 9 on the far unit there, not quite enough to reach the Gene Stealers in the building. They're rolling nowhere near enough with these. They didn't roll far enough to reach the Gene Stealers there. Just Mitch wanted to try and hold back these Gene Stealer units. The idea was to charge in, try and survive at least, and then prevent them from advancing. But that hasn't happened here. So that marks the end of the first turn. It has been blow for blow on both sides. Tyranids definitely thankful to go first here, but still the Guard have made a decent response. Carnifex brought down. This one's virtually dead. It has 1 wound left. This one here in serious trouble and 3 wounds remaining as well. And one of the Gene Stealer units hammered very, very hard indeed. But we will now go on to the second turn for the Tyranids. They do have much of their firepower left available, so they can try and make an impact again as we go into their second round. We'll go on to the second turn for them next. The Tyranid Horde will press on with its advance. Right, so movement done here on turn 2 for the Tyranids, still pressing on with their advance here. So Exocrine has moved here just to try and get in range of a variety of targets. So 6 inches move with him. Venomthropes moved up. Warriors have moved up 6 inches. 7 inches moved with all the Carnifexes and the Hive Tyrant just behind. And then a speedy advance on the other flank here, with the 2 Carnifexes moving up here, 7 inches. This squad here, I've gone 14 with an advance moved. The Gene Stealers flying across here, ready to make contact at this end of the board. And then the Broodlord as well moved very swiftly with him, 13 inches moved there as well. And the 2 squads here moving up very quickly, ready to charge and try and make contact with these Guard squads as well. So Tyranids closing in here, especially on this flank. The speed of the Gene Stealers has been very, very quick in this game. They have taken heavy casualties, but it looks like a good number of them are going to make it into combat at this turn. So we'll go on to Psychic phase next for the Tyranids on their second turn. Right, so Psychic phase here. Psychic Scream is the power for him, and Smite. They both went off, and a total of 3 of the Guardsmen killed from the closest squad. And then over here, Mitch tried to block Catalyst, but didn't. Went off on a 9, and we've granted it there to the Gene Stealers. That's the Broodlord casting that power there. And that is the end of Psychic phase for the Tyranids. We'll go on to their Shooting phase next. Okay, so on the shooting phase here, the Warriors have fired. Death Spitters in 18 inches of the squad at the back there, and I've brought down 2 of them. And then the Venom Cannon fired, did get his hit against the Lone Las Cannon team on top of the building there, and took that one out with the D3 damage coming through. So that's them fired. I reckon we're going to fire the Hive Tyrant next. We're going to fire his Stranglethorn Cannon and go after this heavy weapons team just down here. So D6 shots here. It is a 6. He'll be on 3s to hit. And then he'll be on 2s to wound. They all wound. These are at -1 and 2 damage. So we'll be looking at 6s to save here with these. No, none of them. Alright, so that's a pretty nasty blow there from the Hive Tyrants. The damage 2 there with the Strangleform Cannon causing trouble for the heavy weapons teams. So we're going to fight the Exocrine here, needing 4s to hit, did move, and it's not going to get to shoot twice, but it's going to fire at the Liam Rush just here. So 4+. Horrendous dice rolling. 4+ to wound. No, toughness 8, isn't it? 5s to get a wound, and failed there with the Exocrine. So what a contrast of firepower. Exocrine's moved, and very low impact from him. Okay, so heavy venom cannons then. We'll make a start with these. We are going to go after this lead Liam Russ just here. This one can be seen. It is obscured from all of those shots coming through, but we're ignoring that there with the ability that the Warlord's granting to the units within 3 inches. D3 shots for the first one. 2 shots. Enhanced Senses is 3s to hit. 1 hit comes through. It is strength 9, so it's 3s to wound. And it does wound. So -2 is a 5-up save. And no, so that's 3 damage that comes through from that shot, from the heavy venom cannon. So we fight the next one, D3 shots. Just the 1 shot, freeze for a hit. Does get the hit. Freeze for a wound. Yes, on a 6. Another 5-up save here. Required. It's a 3, so another 3 wounds come through. And then the last one firing is 3 shots. 3s to hit. 3s to wound. 1 more wound comes through, and a 5+ to save. No, so a total of 9 wounds caused there, 5 from the Carnifexes coming through. Alright, so resolve the rest of the shooting here. The 2 Carnifexes fired up with their plasma weaponry there for the Screamer Killers, both targeting the unit at the back, the infantry squad on top, and they've taken 6 casualties in total. So shooting phase finished. Pretty good from the Tyranids. They have made an impact here, reducing one of the tanks down seriously, down to 3 wounds remaining. And then here, heavy weapons team has gone entirely, and then picking off another las cannon on top there as well. So shooting phase effective. Chance for the Tyranids now to charge on their second turn. We'll roll up some charges in Overwatch next. Right, so charges have gone ahead here. We've resolved all of the Overwatch. No damage here against this Carnifex. It did make it in against this squad of 10 just here. This Carnifex has burst through and contacted this squad of 6. The Gene Stealers, taking no damage, have made it into contact here with the Psychers. Quite a crucial result there. Then Yarrick has intervened. He's moved in across and joined in that combat. And then down here, guard squads have been contacted here by the Broodlord and this squad of Gene Stealers. They've also made contact with this squad up here. And then also this squad's been contacted by the Gene Stealers just there. So the line, the red tide, comes crashing in here on the left-hand side. Not attempting any charges here. Trying to keep formation with these Carnifexes just here. So charges resolved. We'll go on to combat resolution next. Okay, so combats have been resolved here. This squad's taken 4 casualties and no damage back. Then the squad that was up here was wiped out. The 2 squads down here were wiped out, and then consolidation moves have been made just there. Astropath here has taken 2 wounds. This one's taken 1, and the one that was here has been slain. And then one of the Astropaths killed one of the Gene Stealers there, and Yarrick made no impact. And then the squad down here was deleted and destroyed as well. And the Gene Stealers moving up a few inches there as well. So this left-hand flank is collapsing here, but there is still depth of units left just there. But it's gone well for the Tyranids here. They have caused horrendous casualties here on this left-hand flank. So not sure. Panic stations, I wouldn't say so yet. Semi-worried at the moment. But there's a chance to strike back here. Remember, there's a number of Carnifexes that are damaged. This one's virtually dead with 1 wound remaining. This one here just has 3 wounds left. And if a number of these are brought down, Mitch still has a fair bit of firepower remaining to do that. Then he can try and readdress the balance of this game. But it is in the Tyranids' favour at the moment, we reckon. But the guards still have a turn in their favour, and that will help decide which way this game is going. But the turn has finished. Morale's been complete. There's not really any units that need to make morale checks because they've been wiped out. Well, there's a squad here. They've lost 4, so he's doing a morale check for them. Yeah, so Mitch has just rolled a 1 for them. They are fine. We just checked for that squad as well, and they've passed on a 7. No problem at all. So that is the end of the turn. Tyranids doing well here. Definitely being helped by the new codex and the adjustments there and the stratagems and so on. And they are making an impact here against the Death Korps of Krieg. But we'll let Mitch strike back here. He's raring to go. Going to try and seek revenge against the Red Tide. So we'll go on to the second turn now for the Death Korps of Krieg. Okay, so movement complete here. This squad's moved up slightly, just trying to get within rapid fire range of the targets just ahead. Sentinels remain stationary as well, ready to fire the las cannon. Then tanks have remained stationary as well. They do have line of sight across here to the advancing Carnifexes. And then the commander with the relics just up here, las cannon remaining where he is. Manticore remaining where he is. Squads here remaining stationary, getting ready to fire, pulling out of combat with this squad. And then here, commanders gathering around here. This squad here's formed just to there. The 2 psychos are pulled out of combat, and Yarrick has remained where he is. A wound regained here as well. He's back onto 4, and that pushes that Russ back up to 5s to hit. Helpful there, using a stratagem to regain a wound on that vehicle. And that is about it. So we'll go on to psychic phase now. A chance for these, we reckon they can use their psychic powers even if they've fallen back from combat. So we'll go on to psychic phase next for the Death Korps. Okay, so psychic phase resolved here. Just 1 mortal wound caused on the Carnifex here. Now, what's the name of that power? It's Psychic Maelstrom. Yes, went off against there. 1 failed, and the other one did go off, just causing 1 mortal wound. And that is the psychic phase finished. On to shooting phase next. A critical point here in the game to see how much damage the Death Korps of Krieg can do against these Tyranids, especially the monstrous creatures here. So autocannon here is going to fire down and try and take out this Carnifex.
Take aim as well.
So okay.
3 rolls to hit because I didn't move.
Yep. Okay. So this is rolls to hit here. 1 hit needing 5s because -1 to hit, and 5 is a wound. It does come through. We have to save this one, otherwise there's trouble. So 6. Good roll there, and helping out, keeping that Carnifex alive. Would have been 2 damage, would have been a kill there, but he has stayed alive so far. So some more shooting here. The rest of the squad fired through down at the Carnifex here, but no damage coming through from them. These that fell back, get back in the fight, was it?
Get back in the fight. And
then Grenadiers stratagem played on there through a load of grenades, but no damage coming through against this Carnifex here. Bolt guns fired through from the commanders against the Carnifex over there, and no damage either from them. So what's next? This one?
Yep, this Ross Annihilator is going to shoot him.
Okay, here we go. Here's -1 to hit, so it's 5s, and there's rerolls of 1.
I didn't move, so I'm rerolling 1s to hit.
Okay.
Although it didn't really help.
There's 3 hits have come through. Now the wounds. 1 wound comes through, 2 have failed. I'm just going to command roll, okay. And still fails, and then 5+ to regain that command point. No, 1 used up. Still tons left here, about 10 remaining. So 1 save here. This one charged, so it's on a 6+ to try and block this. A 5, okay. And the damage is a 6. Good roll. 6 wounds caused on this Screamer Killer. So 2 wounds remaining here. Still alive, but seriously wounded here. Carnifex took a nasty hit from the guard tank. So a lone laser cannon shot. It's the last heavy weapons team firing down. A 5+ to get a hit here.
Issue take aim, so I get to reroll my...
Okay, yeah.
Misses.
So 5+ here. Reroll. There's a 6. 6 scored. 3+ to wound. Yes, the wound comes through. This Carnifex is in deep trouble now. And roll up a save. Failed. It's D6 damage, and it's a 3. Carnifex gone. Alright, so next laser cannon shot. This Sentinel firing across here at this Carnifex here, and rolls.
He's KD, he gets to reroll.
Reroll 1s. I mean, still roll 1. So missed there. More firepower here. A lot of squads firing up, trying to reduce the Gene Stealers down, and it's been successful here. There's only just 1 of them left. Which squads fired across? Just pointing them out here.
These ones.
All of those.
Up here.
And that squad.
This squad.
And that squad there as well. All firing in, needing 4s to hit, then 5s to wound, and then the 5+ invuln helping us out to some degree, but a good number of them gone. So Mitch happy to be reducing those Gene Stealers down. They are quite a threat, especially to the infantry units here for the Death Korps. And we're lining up now some heavier firepower. The tanks seeking to bring down these Carnifexes here. This squad, by the way, fired through and has caused 0 damage here against these toughness 6 Carnifexes. Yeah, and the Mercantian is obscured here because these haven't advanced or charged. With the High Fleet special rules, it's +1 to their saves. They're on 2 pluses here, these Carnifexes, really helping to keep them alive. So the Limros just here. This one's going to fire at the full strength Carnifex just there.
11 shots.
So this is the 2d6 shots, just firing twice here with the Tyrant because he moved, or didn't move at all. 5s for hits here. Just the -1 to hit granted by the Venom ropes, protecting them. And some rerolls of 1s coming through. So just the 3 hits. And then 3s to wound, all 3 wound. That's a good roll there. And then -2. So on 4 pluses to save here. We do save 1. And it's D3 damage at times. It's 3 wounds caused. Lascan has missed. And has still missed on a 4. Would have hit normally, but the Venom ropes doing their job, obscuring the target from view. So just 3 wounds caused in total against this Carnifex. 6s to hit with the Annihilator. He's on 5s normally because the damage is taken, and a further -1. So 6 is needed. 1 dice has gone onto the floor. Looking for a hit. Yes, it does get a hit. It's freeze for a wound. Does wound. A 5+ to save here. Oh, it's not, and it's D6 damage. It is a 4. 1 wound remains here on this Carnifex. Okay, so Manticore firing now. Mitch is going after this Carnifex here. 7 shots. So it will be -1 to hit. So 5s and 6s. There's some hits coming through. There's 2. And then wounds, 2 6s. Yeah, 2 wounds caused. This is -2. -2. Okay, so 4 pluses. Nope, failed. And the damage is 6. D3. Okay. So which one did you pick on? This one. He is gone. And that's it. That's shooting phase finished. So pretty good. A couple of Carnifexes brought down. More severe damage coming against the Gene Stealer. So both sides battering away at each other here. It's been quite a contest, shooting-wise for sure. And sort of a race against time, trying to stop the Tyranids before their melee units make too much of an impact. Still very hard to call at this stage here as these two armies fight. Remember, the game revolves around these objectives. Tyranids is quite happy sitting on their objective here at the moment. And the Guard's still looking pretty strong on theirs as well. It's tucked up here in the corner of this building. But that is shooting phase finished on turn 2 for the Death Korps of Krieg. We'll go on to assaults next. We'll see if there's any charges. I'll roll those up and Overwatch as well. Okay, so charges have gone ahead here. 2 full squads, virtually at full strength, of charging against the Carnifex here, just trying to tie it down and pick up a couple of wounds. And then here, the squad that was just in the corner, 4 of them have charged in and reached the 3 Gene Stealers there fighting against Yarrick. So we'll get these combats resolved next. Alright, so combat's resolved here. A wound taken on the Carnifex, so just 1 left. And then up here, the Gene Stealer squad was wiped out, so that freed up Yarrick, who then moved down. He's just in here. And then this squad's consolidated across towards the lone Gene Stealer on top. And in response, 3 guardsmen killed from this squad by the Carnifex fighting back. So that is combat's finished. We've rolled up morale as well. That's all been resolved. There's no further casualties taken from failed morale. Guard are in trouble, but they have clawed. Well, not so they didn't really claw. Tyranids claw the game back, but guardsmen they have pulled back here for sure. The impact there of destroying or reducing down that Gene Stealer unit has really helped them out, taken off the pressure from this flank for sure, and then starting to lose a number of the Carnifexes here. And Tyranids looking a fair bit thinner on the ground, but there's still definitely plenty of fight left in them. And we'll hand over to their turn next, a chance for them to move in closer perhaps to get into combat, and some more shooting available from them, although they have lost one of the shooting Carnifexes now. We'll go on to the third turn now for the Tyranids. They'll need to do well if they're going to try and get back ahead in this game. So the third turn coming up for them next. Alright, so movement phase complete here. Tyranids have split their force at this stage. The Exocrines remained stationary and then pulling back 6 inches +2 for an advanced move. The Venom ropes have fallen back to here. So this is the defensive group that will try and hold on to the objective now for the rest of the game. Warriors have moved 6. They're heading in this direction to try and join this ongoing melee. Then the Hive Tyrant and the two Carnifexes have shifted in this direction here in pursuit of tanks and guardsmen just ahead. Then around on this flank here, the lone genius that was here has done an advance move and ended up just there. And then this squad's moved up with an advance move as well. And then the Broodlord lining up for a charge as well. Carnifex remaining in combat. So that is it. We'll go on to Psychic Phase now. There is some Psychic powers to roll up next for the Tyranids on their third turn. Okay, so Psychic Phase has been finished here at Smite, and then Psychic Scream coming through and bringing down 6 of the guardsmen here from this squad. The Psychic power is pretty nasty from the Hive Tyrant. And then across here, the Broodlord. Mitch tried to block it but failed, and here Catalyst has been put on the Genius Stealers just there. That's Psychic Phase finished. We've gone to Shooting Phase next. Alright, so we're on Shooting Phase here. Pathogenous Slime, the last of our command points used up here to activate this on the exocrine that's remained stationary. So we're going to fire the first salvo of 6 shots, remaining still be freeze to hit. We can see the Sentinel with check line of sight, you can see through the windows there and can pick him up just there in range 36. So 3s for hits, 3 hits, 4 hits coming through, strength 7, toughness 5, so 3s to wound. They all wound. It is -3 and 3 damage, so he
explodes because he's too far.
Yeah, no, he's gone. Bit of a bane there at the exocrine for these Sentinels here, but the last one's gone. Okay, so the second round we're going to fire at the Rust just here. We are just within range of this one, so we'll be on 3s to hit. 4 hit except 1, it's a good round, but it'd be 5s to wound, strength. Toughness 8, strength 7. Oh, there's those coming through, and there'll be trouble here. So you will get the benefit of cover because we're out of range of the relic. This could be saved here. We're just going to check this, but I reckon Mitch has saved 2 of these. Yep, and then Mitch has just rolled here with a command reroll and a 5, and he's passed all of them, needing 5s. Incredible result just there, keeping the Leman Russ alive. So good impact here against this Walker, and then 0 damage against the Russ just over there. So we'll press on with the rest of the shooting, but not too bad a start. One of the Sentinels, or the last of the Sentinels, destroyed. Okay, so the rest of the shooting resolved here. We fired through with the other Carnifex and also the Stranglethorn cannon here, and did 0 damage to this Leman Russ. So that is the end of the shooting phase. Now, so we'll go on to assaults. We'll line up some charges here and resolve some Overwatch and see what makes it into combat. Okay, so charges have taken place here. The 2 Carnifexes with no damage taken have made into combat here against this 7-man guard squad. And then across here, the Warriors have charged in here, making contact with 1. The other one's just behind, and then this spare one here can consolidate. The idea is the closest enemy model will be a member of this squad. Just here, just trying to silence them for shooting next turn. Carnifex continues on in the fight. The Lone Gene Stealer charged down and has reached them. And across here, the Broodlord's charging against the guard squad on top. And then the Gene Stealers have made contact with the 2 Astropaths. So that is charges resolved. The Hive Tyrant tried to charge here and rolled a double 1 and failed. But other than that, all the other combats are going ahead. So roll up now, get these combats resolved for the Tyranids on their third turn. Alright, so combat's resolved here, quite eventful on this turn. The Carnifex here died, a wound did come through. We did go first, but then a wound came through there, and we failed on a 3+, no longer protected by the Hive Fleet bonus for being obscured. And then here we killed 3 of the guardsmen on that squad in the end, just there. Haven't done morale quite yet. And then across here, a number of the guardsmen being brought down, 2 from this squad, 4 from that squad, and then here no damage taken on the Warriors. Carnifex remains alive. Yarrick failed to wound him. Broodlord took a wound, dealt out 3 casualties in return, and then Genesteers wiped out the 2 Astropaths and have consolidated a few inches to the edge of the building just there. So that marks the end of combat, so we'll get some morale rolled up next for these guard units. Okay, so morale been resolved here. The last guardsman on top here has been slain. We'll consolidate there in just a moment with the Broodlord, and then all the other units have passed. Apart from here, this squad took 6. They failed by 1. Another guardsman's been removed. That marks the end of the third turn for the Tyranids. Both armies still in the fight. Tyranids have done pretty good. I say they're slightly ahead, but again, we still have a turn in hand here for the Guard. They're going to try and equal the balance here in this game. But both sides taking significant damage so far, but it's kind of been blow for blow, really. Both sides still have resources to call upon, but definitely both sides are depleted in their numbers for sure. So we'll go on now to the third turn for the Death Korps of Krieg. It's hard to call this game right from the start. Despite how well the Tyranids have done, we still reckon it's very hard to call at this stage. There are still tanks, nasty tanks, still available for the Guard to use. Right, so moving here for the Death Korps of Krieg, holding position here, pulling out of combat with these. This Russ has moved, and there's a nice clear line of sight to either the Hive Tyrant or to the Carnifex just here. There's a Russ here has moved through the gap and ready to fire in this direction as well. Guard squad here, holding position on top of the building with the objective, holding position here with the lone las cannon, and this is the Warlord here. Yeah, holding position just there. Squad moving in this direction. The commanders on their horses pulling back to there, and then pulling out of combat, all of the combats, withdrawing from those with the Guard squads that are here. So that's movement done. There's no psychic phase now. The psychers have been slain, so we'll go on to shooting next for the Death Korps of Krieg on their third turn. Okay, so on shooting phase here, Gene Stealer's been brought down. 7 of them lost so far. That was bolt of fire coming from the commanders, all 5 of them fired, and the squad just below. A ton of shots from them coming through as well. Catalyst helping out to some degree. Well, a good number of saves actually, about 4 of the wounds being ignored, but there's just 4 of those Gene Stealers left. So not many left at all. Now it is the Lehman Russ that's here is going to shoot at this Carnifex here. 6 wounds remaining. So 7 shots that is coming through. That's rolling up to see how many shots with the battle cannon.
That's 5, 6, 7.
Be forced to hit because we charged last turn.
Rerolls of 1.
Oh yes, rerolls 1. Just helped. There's another hit coming through, and then it'll be strength 8. So 3s to wound.
Rerolls of 1 because of the relic, which is nearby.
4. Very good. So saves of 5+ here. Otherwise there's trouble. We do block 2. It's 2d3 damage. And it's 4 wounds come through. There's 2 remaining. Las Cannon's just fired, and Mitch has rolled a 2. He's just thinking about whether to re-roll with a command point. He is re-rolling and has scored a 3. All right, and he does get the command point back, but that's the re-roll used up on this turn of shooting. So Carnifex remains alive. 2 wounds left. Squad on top. The guardsmen on top. They're going to fire across, and the autocannon team is going to fire down into the Carnifex. So 2 shots, needing 4s. 1 hit. 4s for a wound. No.
Rerolling 1s.
No. Okay. So continuing on with the shooting here, quite a development taking place. Carnifex brought down. So first strength 5, second strength 5 from here. 3 wounds caused, and we failed 2. Got no stratagems left, so no rerolls for those armor saves left. And because we charged, not counting as obscured anymore, so free up save, we failed 2 of those. So Carnifex gone. Significant blow there for the Tyranids. So the Hive Tyrant now is starting to be focused on. This is 2d6 shots from the Manticore coming in. 6 shots. Yeah, no command point available to use for a reroll there. And 4s for hits. Well, didn't charge, it's 5s for hits with him. And a wound does come through. So just the 1 wound coming through, and it's -2, but it's a 4-up invuln save for him, which he fails. So that is how much damage? 3. 2 damage coming through for the D3 wounds. Right, so Relic of Lost Cadia has been activated here, so everyone will be on +1 ballistic skill to fire at him, and these shots are coming from
Numerous Annihilator shooting
the tank. Right, okay, this is las cannon firepower coming through, rolling incredible dice, rolling 4 hits. Very, very good. 3s to wound.
Rerolling 1s to wound.
Oh, 2 have failed. 2 on the reroll do come through. 2 invuln saves here. This could be trouble for the Hive Tyrant. He has 10 wounds remaining. He does pass 1, so he'll not die, but he'll take d6 damage. 4. So 6 wounds remain. He's been half killed. Yeah, this overlapping fields of fire is what's taken place here. So that is a stratagem, is it?
Yeah.
Right, that's been used. 2 command points to be used. Okay, so that's been used up there. But helping to take on the Hive Tyrant. Yeah, I was just thinking he can't be targeted as a character now, but he's so many wounds that he can be picked out and shot at, so that's fine. Those shooting attacks have been resolved. Yeah, so more shooting resolved here. The Carnifex has gone. So the order that you was get back in the fight used to a couple of grenades thrown by sergeants and laser gunfire. Fouled 2 saves. It was 3 saves to make. 2 saves. Fouled both. And the Carnifex has been brought down. So that's another one gone now. So then up here, what was the order for the sergeant there? Fixed bayonets. Just an attack there, but no damage coming through against the Broodlord. So shooting phase finished. Total amount of casualties on the Gene Stealers over here is 7 that they've taken. Warriors haven't been touched. The lone Gene Stealer down there is still alive. Broodlord still fighting away, and the half-dead Hive Tyrant just there. But the Tyranid Assault beginning to wear thin now, and the Guard may well be able to consolidate, pull themselves together and launch their own attack against the Tyranid objective. We'll see. We'll go on to assaults now, some charge moves potentially, and some Overwatch to resolve. Right, so combat's taking place here. 2 of the commanders made it in. Good rolls from them. So they've made it into combat there against the Gene Stealers, and this squad has charged in. A number of the models making contact here, and the rest there against the lone Gene Stealer just there. Not charging the Warriors, and the Hive Tyrant haven't charged him. So just some combats to resolve on top of the industrial building here. Okay, so combat's resolved here. The lone Gene Stealer was killed, and a Gene Stealer up here was killed, and then fighting back, no damage, with just the one there armed with the acid maw. So there's morale to check here. We'll just resolve that in just a moment, and then that marks the end of the turn here for the Death Korps of Krieg on their 3rd turn. Alright, so morale's resolved here. It's auto-passive, this lone Gene Stealer, just with the Broodlord being within 12 inches. So that is the end of the 3rd turn for the Death Korps of Krieg. I reckon they've swung the game around in their favour now. 2 strong heavy tanks here, well equipped, and then plenty of guardsmen here to form a screen. So it's looking very doubtful the Tyranids will be able to break into this area to contest this objective, and then you reckon the Death Korps of Krieg are going to start to rally, and they can move quick enough with orders being granted. Units will be able to start moving on to the Tyranid objective just here. So the game, we reckon, has swung now. Perhaps, maybe for the first time in the game, definitely in favour now for the Death Korps of Krieg. We'll go on to the 4th turn now. Time is ticking away. Can the Tyranids hang on to their objective? We reckon they're burning out here at the moment. So the rush is on to try and go after their objective. We'll go on to the 4th turn now for the Tyranids. Okay, so movement here for the Tyranids on their 4th turn, holding position here with the Exocrine, and then shifting back with the Venom Probes, just trying to keep them out of lasgun range. Then the Hive Tyrant here, the commander, moving across, getting ready to shoot and charge. Warriors have moved around 6 inches from here around to here, potentially to try and charge and silence the Leman Russ just here. Broodlord has moved around to try and join in the combat with the lone Gene Stealer, and that is it. So we're going to Psychic Phase next for the Tyranids on their 4th turn. They're doing the best that they can, but their numbers depleted, options are running low. Okay, so Psychic Phase complete. Smite across the other side there, the Broodlord failed, but here Psychic Scream and Smite went off and wiped out the 3-man guard squad that was just there. So Psychic Phase finished. On to Shooting Phase next for the Tyranids on turn 4. Okay, so shooting phase complete here. We fired here with the Exocrine. The first round that came through was good, reducing the Leman Russ down to 8 wounds, and then the second round, no damage at all coming through there. Hive Tyrant fired across to here as well and did no damage either, rolling a 1 for number of shots and then a 1 to hit. And then the Warriors, we tried to fire the Venom Cannon up here to pick off the lone laser cannon, but failed, and then Death Spitters fired into this squad and just caused 1 casualty. That is shooting phase finished. We've gone to assaults. There are a number of assaults that the Tyranids can do, but it's a last-ditch attempt for them to make any kind of impact on the Death Korps objective. We'll go on to assaults next, charges and Overwatch. So charges going ahead here. The Hive Tyrant did take 2 wounds, but saved those. They're on 2 5s and has made it into combat just there. The Warriors tried to charge. One of them died from a las cannon hit, charging in against the Russ, and we rolled a 4 for our charge, so failed to reach that Russ in combat. And then across here, the Broodlord has made it into combat here against the company commanders just there. So that's charges done. We'll resolve these combats next. So combat's resolved here. Broodlord's taken 4 wounds in total. He took 2 more wounds fighting back. In him fighting first, 2 invuln saves made here. We split our attacks between the 2 commanders and then failed with 1 here, which was a 6 to wound, so 3 auto wounds on the commander, but he's still alive. And then failed to wound the Genius Stealer here with the regular guardsman fighting against him, so he continues on in combat. Then down here, the Hive Tyrant destroyed the squad and then just consolidated 3 inches in this direction. And that is it. So not too bad there from the Tyranids. Shame this charge didn't go off. There's Russes about here that are ready to fire and in pretty good shape. So we'll go on to the 4th turn now for the Death Korps of Krieg. Okay, so on to movement here. Yarek's urging his men forward. So 2 squads have moved out here, and then the squad's disengaged from combat and moved down. Not ignoring the warriors, no doubt they'll be shot at by something. Squad maintaining their position on top of the building here, and commanders moved up between them as well. And then holding position here with the warlord. Commander just to the left of this Russ that's moved around the corner does have a view, measuring line of sight now from any point on the vehicle, so you can see the Hive Tyrant, and this Russ has remained stationary just there. That is movement done. No psychic phase. We'll go on to shooting phase next. Okay, shooting phase resolved, and you can see what's happened here. Hive Tyrant's gone. He was destroyed. Manticore, wasn't it, that caused the trouble for him? So he's gone. And then the last of the Geniuses and Broodlord have been taken out as well. So there's nothing now of this Tyranid attack. It's all been dealt with. So move, orders granted here. And these Guardsman squad, they're heading across in this direction because they're going to go for line breaker. Remember, the Tyranid deployment zone is along here. So they're on that mission just to claim that victory point. Because as it stands at the moment, it's 4 each. 3 points holding this objective, and then first blood to the Tyranids, and then the guard are holding their objective, and then slay the warlord has been achieved by them. So Mitch just moving out to try and pick up another point just there. So that is the end of the 4th turn. There's no charges, no combats to take place. We'll go on to the 5th, possibly final turn now for the Tyranids. So movement finished here, so just holding position entirely where we are, so we'll now go on to the shooting phase next. Okay, so shooting phase resolved. We fired at the closest target just to keep our ballistic skill at full potential there. We fired twice for remaining still as well, because there's no sign-ups for us here. So if you fire at a target that's not the closest, it's -1 to hit, but we destroyed this unit of 6 that was just there, so they're gone. But 2 squads have moved out here, so I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get rid of all of them. They're heading off to achieve line breaker over here, so no charges. That's the end of turn 5. Very quick there, not many options, or hardly any options left here for the Tyranids, but they defiantly remain on the objective. A strange spore cloud surrounding this piece of Tyranid artillery, trying to cling on to their objective. We'll go on to turn 5 now for the Death Korps of Krieg. They're going to try and go for victory next. Okay, so that is the movement phase complete. You can see the guards are moving across here to go for line breaker. These are advanced moves that have been made. This squad hiding behind this burnt out rhino, and now completely hidden from the exocrines. Looks like the fate of the Tyranids has been sealed here. Commissar Yarek urging what's left of these guard squads on. A squad of 2 has moved up. Yarek's moved himself. Other squad has moved here, and then the commander's moving out and advancing as well. So that is movement phase finished. The Manticore's moved up, missile rack empty now, but just moving to the edge to fire its heavy bolter. Liam Ross is preparing to fire and try and take on the exocrine here. So we'll go on to shooting phase next. Okay, so shooting phase complete here. Firepower now being directed against the exocrine. It has dropped 10 wounds in 1 round of shooting, so just 2 wounds remaining on this thing just here. So multiple shots coming through. It was the Liam Russes doing the damage, and autocannon firing through as well from the squad, protecting the objective. So that marks the end of the shooting phase here. There's no charges, no assaults to take place, but we reckon at this point in the game the Tyranids will need to concede. There's no hope that we will be able to try and win this game. So calculating victory points, 3 points that we've conceded anyway, so it is a loss here, a big loss, but 3 points would have been scored there, and first blood, and then line breaker over here for the guard, and holding their objective and slay the warlord is 5 for the final score, but because we conceded, then it is just a great victory for the Death Korps of Krieg. But great game here, very enjoyable. I thought the Tyranids were going to win. The first couple of turns of the game were scary as that Tyranid line advanced, and then the deadly firepower coming through as well. One laser cannon team after another was destroyed. The tanks were being picked on as well, but enough firepower, enough manpower was kept here towards the end, and command points really helping out as well, and stratagems being used, and it kept the Tyranids back and destroyed the attack that came through. The close combat assault was dealt with, took a lot of casualties, the Death Korps, but they absorbed the damage and then launched their own counterattack to that, and then moving out across to claim line breaker right at the very end. So it is a victory to them. Thanks to Mitch Farrington for coming down. Great to see the Death Korps again, and a different list being used, and some freshly painted up tanks as well. It's good to see them being used in the game as well. As for the Tyranids, it was a good fight from them. They gave the Death Korps of Krieg a lot to think about and worry about during this game, but ultimately Yarrick has led the force for the Death Korps of Krieg to victory here. Great game, very enjoyable, tense first few turns, but the Death Korps of Krieg have achieved victory here. So, great game, thanks for watching, and tune in next time. So, units of the game for both sides. Laser cannon teams were horrendously picked on here in this game, but the new tanks were pretty good. So this is a Lehman Russ Annihilator. Yeah, no, it's a pretty good tank. Did well. Laser cannon shots come through, and really being helped out with the ability to fire twice with the turret. So a decent enough vehicle. And then for the Tyranids, I reckon it is the Exocrine. The long-range fire support that it gave was excellent, causing casualties and trouble across the board. So Exocrine here, and then the Lehman Russes, and then specifically the Annihilator just there. That's units of the game for both sides.